Okay, hello everyone. You should have a copy of 1.5a Special Case Factoring and Expanding Perfect Square Trinomials. And we're going to go through this note right here. Right now at the start, I want you just to pay attention. I'm going to go over a few things and just pay attention, and you don't have to copy right now. Okay, so we're going to start off here. We're going to start off what a perfect square is. So perfect squares is like 1 squared. So 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So 1 is a perfect squared. Another, so 2 squared is 4. So that's another perfect squared. 3 squared, that's like 3 times 3, and that's 9. Now, to get these, like 4 squared, you could go to your calculator, right? You could go to this calculator here, and like I have up here, you can type in 4 squared or 16, or 4, use the squared key, and you get 16. And then 5 squared is 25, or 5 times 5. So 5, so let's clear this. 5 times 5, so the number times itself is a perfect square, is 25. And you keep going. 6 squared is 36. 7 squared, so 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. 9 times 9 is 81. And 10 times 10, so let's go here, is 100. So I have all these numbers memorized. So as soon as I see one of these, I know it's a perfect square. And I can do the opposite. I can like square root it. If you know the symbol, square root of that is 10. Square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 64 is 8. And I have all these numbers memorized. Now, you can use your calculator to find them, but I put them right on the side here of your sheet. So I put them right over here on the side. So they're all listed down here. Okay, let's take a look at something else. Let's look at the theory part right here. So let's say we have a number. So let's say we have A. A could be any number. So A is any number. X plus B. Okay, so we have A could be any number. X plus B. B could be any number, and we square this. So again, you have this in the note. So anything squared, you multiply by itself. So ax plus b, you can just write twice, and we've been doing these. You write it twice. The ax gets multiplied there, and the ax multiplies that. So if you have ax, so this could be any number a times any number a is a squared. And then the two x's become x squared. Okay, so you got a squared and x squared. There's a bit of delay. And then a times b is plus a b x. Now we're going to do the other one. So if we multiply those, and then we multiply the other two, it's going to multiply those. You get b and a together, and that's the same thing as abx. So you get the same exact thing. And then b times b, you get plus b squared. Now, if you notice, you always put the two middle terms together, and I kept talking about that. You always put the two middle terms together. These are exactly the same. You have two of them. So you can write a squared x squared plus 2abx plus b squared. You just write it. So in the end, you have this fancy formula. Ax plus b squared equals a squared x squared plus 2abx plus b squared. I'm going to put a box around it. You didn't have to copy this, so I just wanted you to pay attention. Why? Because I have it written out. So you got this formula and everything I just did there. So all this expanding, all the theory's right here. And your formula that we're going to use is here. Okay, the formula is right there. Interestingly, so if we have this, if we know we have something, a perfect square there, a squared, it could be like 4. 2 times 2 is 4. And then If we have another one, 3 times 9 here. So we can, if these two numbers are these numbers down here, these numbers right there, then we can take a shortcut and go right to the answer. So again, this way, if you remember, this is expanding, remove the brackets, and this way is factoring. So this way here is factoring. So this way is expanding, this is factoring. So we could take some shortcuts and do some factoring shortcuts. So if we know these numbers, if the thing starts and ends with these numbers, all these numbers here, we can do some quick factoring in one line, really fast factoring. That doesn't take long using this formula. So here's the steps, and these steps relate to that formula up there. So step 1. Write a bracket with a square on it. So you just write a big bracket with a square. Step 2, square root the first term and place in bracket. Okay. Step 3, square root last term and place in bracket. Step 4, use the sign in the middle. And then you have to do a check, step 5. And how? Check by multiplying all three terms. Well, actually, you're multiplying the two terms and the little number. So you multiply the two terms. It's a little bit off. So you multiply all three terms or all three items. You multiply the 2, the A, and the B. Not necessarily the 2. You multiply the two terms and then you multiply it by 2. I don't know why I put all three terms. Maybe I'll change it by the time you get it. I'm going to say multiply the two terms times 2. Might sound better. But I like to say maybe multiply all three numbers. I'm going to put numbers, and I'll change it on yours. So when you get a copy, you'll already have that word numbers, so 2AB for the check. Okay, let's do the first one right here. Here's the very first one. We're going to first do step 1. Write a bracket with a square. And a bracket, a square. Step 1. Write a bracket with the square. Bracket with a square. Square root the first term and place in the bracket. So square root of 9. Well, we can go to our calculator. We can use the square root key. So there's my square root. Okay, I've got to turn it on. So second square root, and maybe I'll clear everything. Second square root 9 is 3. So square root of the first term, or square root is 3, but it's just 3x. It's everything, 3x. That's step 1. Step 2, square root, step 3, square root the last term and place in the bracket. The last term is 16. Well, I gave you it here. Look, 16, there was the 3. See right there. The 16, the square root of 16 is 4. So you put a 4 right here. 4 right there. Now, use the sign of the middle. What's the middle? Right there. Put that sign there. Finished. Done. No, still got to do the check. Do not forget, check by multiplying all three numbers. What is he talking about? Okay, let's check them. You don't have to write check. You can do it in your head too. But here's how you check. What's the three numbers? 3. Multiply that. Next number. -4. What's the next number? 2. Right? And maybe I'll add this to your note, and that has to equal middle. When you do all that, it has to equal the middle, or middle term. So I'll add this to your note. So this will already be better. So when you multiply the three numbers, the 2AB, so you multiply this, it has to equal the middle. So let's see. 3 times 4 is -12 times 2 is -24. Okay, if you don't believe me, go to our calculator. Okay, 3. Well, I got to put a 3. Let's clear it. Let's try that again. 3, -4, and 2. -24. So you can use your calculator 3 times, okay, or you can use your head. 3 times -4 is -12 times 2 is -24. Now, if this number is the same as that number, if these two numbers are the same, then your answer is correct. Okay. then the answer is correct. Okay, let's try the next one. Again, step 1, put a bracket. Step 2, add the square, or still step 1, add the square. Now, square root of x, that's like 1x. If you square root that, you just get x. Okay, square root of that 100. Well, you can go back up here. Look, 100 square root is 10. So you can write 10. Sign of the middle. Plus. Let's do our check. Well, in this case, we can multiply. It's a 1, right? Because there's nothing there for the first one. You multiply a 1 times a 10. 1 times 10 times a 2. 1 times 10 times 2 is 20. Now, is that the middle? Yes. So that answer is correct. You have to show the check? No, but I recommend you do it every single time. Okay, why? Let's try the third one. We're going to do the exact same steps. And I'll show you why. So here you put the bracket and the squared. Square root of the first one's x. Square root of the last one's 3. Sign of the middle, minus. Okay, let's do the check. 1, -3, 2. That's -6. Wait a second, it's -10. If that was -6, it would work. No, this is not correct. Okay, so what do we do now? Well, we still have to factor. It says factor. We don't just stop and give up. Okay, we still got to factor. So we're going to use man here. M-A-N. We're going to use the man to figure it out. Because why not Mandra? Because it starts with a 1 in the front. So we're going to use man here. So let's go over here, man. So here has to multiply to give us 9. Add to give you -10. So you're going to find two numbers that multiply to give you 9. Add to give you -10. And you're thinking, well, what 1 and 9? 1 times 9. 1 times 9 is 9. But it adds to +10. Oh, we got to make them both negative. Now that's our answer. So you put x minus 1, x minus 9, and you've got the correct answer. Okay, just for the sake, I might run out of time. I'm going to do a second video, and right on the second video, I'm going to do this part and the bottom. So whoever's there, can you play the second video right now?